Welcome, comrades. We're back about part two about the agnostics, and I read a scripture out of the book of Luke, chapter 4, several verses in there around 26 and a little before and after that. And we talked about how Christ came on the scene and how he was rejected by his own people. And then they identified him as being a carpenter's son. And, is this not the guy from Nazareth? Any good thing come out of Nazareth? And so he was without honor, and he was saying that when he come to heal the sick, they were telling him, physician, why don't you heal yourself? He knew what was in their mind. They were saying, why don't you heal yourself? You come in here healing everybody else. But he said, prophet is without honor in his own country. So what made me decide to come and share this is because when I talked in the previous lesson about followership, and how envy and we have the inability to take leadership of our own people when we're anointed, when we're powerful, and how those are the ones that'll fight you the most, that he couldn't send Elijah the prophet even to his own widows in Israel. He sent them to Sarepta. That's pitiful. When God has to send a man to another place because he knows his own people that he's going to are not going to receive him. And this is what we have to get out of also as Black Africans in our struggle. We need to learn to be appreciative of those people. As I've said in that followership videos, parts 1 to 4, your attitude is bad. That's a bad attitude. We can't roll like that. In order for us to become great leaders, we have to be good followers. Okay? And no man can lead any man adequately further than he has ever gone his own self. Once a man has reached his end, that's all he has to give. Another must come and lead the way. So you can't lead anybody any further than you've gone yourself. Christ had a lot to give. He knew life. He knew the life before, the life to come, and he was a visionary. And so that great man, you got guys today that's got working on their little bachelor's degrees, their master's, doctorate, they can't give allegiance to God. You got young dudes, 20s, 30s, talking about they don't believe a lot of the things in the scriptures because it's just people control. Well, what about all the books that you read? Those are written by men also. Okay, so you believe everything in that and you say science backs it up. We have proof and all of that. And we have proof of science backs up a lot of things other than those. They back up some of the biblical things, but we're not going to talk about 100% whether the scriptures are totally accurate or not. But come on, you know that you came in here through a man and a woman. You know that they got together and that's why you're here. You didn't come through here by two men or two women, the union of two men and two women. You came in here by a union of men and women. Nature endorses that. So that's how you know you're here. So you're going to try to tell me that you can't see the truth in nature alone? You're blind. So you agnostic guys, not every preacher, not every bishop, not every prophet is a false prophet. What about if he's true? What if he's a true teacher and a man of God? If you fight against him, are you not fighting against God? Okay? If it's a follower, like not even a minister, but a regular layman, a regular member of the church, and they following God, they praying, and you discouraging them, telling them that they can't do that stuff. Are you fighting against God if that person is truly with God? How do you know? How do you know that you're not fighting against God? So, anyway, you know that it's right to serve your people, serve Africans, and you don't disserve them or do a disservice to your people because they're not high on the hierarchy of desirables. Just because people have relegated or pushed our race to a lower standard and saying we're the untouchables, like the India untouchables, or saying that we're the lowest scum of the earth, doesn't mean we have to accept that title. Those are man giving labels to man. So when God raises up a leader out of that group, and he's not coming out of the chief of princes lineage, he's not coming out of the Pharaoh's lineage, but he comes up out of the streets of Hallville, or I'm sorry, not Hallville, but Gary, Indiana, or he's coming up out of Detroit, Michigan, or he's coming up out of Atlanta, Georgia, or he's coming up out of Seattle, Washington, or he's coming up out of Dallas, Texas. You got a problem, you live there and you've been going to school there. You got a problem with that kind of leader? If God chooses that kind of person, why does he have to come from the families of royalty? God doesn't always go like that. You see, even Christ was in a manger, had no place to lay his head, born in a colonized country, a country colonized by Rome, in oppression, and he comes up in the midst of his people, speaking the deliverance that God has for them, not from the Roman Empire, but for spiritual deliverance, because that's what it was planned from the beginning. But you know what's interesting is he has a second coming. You coon agnostics, there's a second coming that maybe the second coming, he's coming like a king really would come. This other place, he came like a lamb to the slaughter. But maybe it's the second coming that the Jews was really looking for, not the first coming. The first coming, he was coming a form that that people wouldn't even desire him. He wasn't even looked upon like a great king. They wanted a great king, just like they wanted Saul back in the Old Testament. They wanted a king like other nations. God said, I'm your king, but they wanted a man, so they got Saul. And Saul did what he did and fell short. Then King David came up. And the prophet was anointing these guys. So the people cry out for a king, you know. People cry out for a certain kind of Messiah. And it may not be in the plan of God how that's going to come through. So all I'm saying to you coon agnostics, or, you know, I like I said, I'm not trying to be rude, because I'm using the words that the people say. Now, forgive me if maybe I can just say agnostics, but agnostics and sellouts, okay? Agnostics and sellouts. The guy that has the combination of that, you're missing on both sides, man. You're missing on both sides. You don't believe in God, and then you sit up here talking like you don't even love your people and understand African history. I'm telling you as brother soldier, you really need to get down to business and start studying your books and sitting up in these college classes, learning all the crap that they're lying to you about, and then you coming out doubting and you don't even try to have a real relationship with God. Now, I'm going to share something. This is going to probably blow some of you guys' mind. You probably don't want to listen to me no more. And I really don't want to, there was no plan for me to really share this, except if I feel like it can relate. But I really wanted to know God at one time. When I was 16, 17, I wanted to know God. And I got real close to knowing him. It was about 5 years into my spiritual walk that I really began to see beyond the natural and start seeing things future. I could see things happening in my life. I could see things happening in other people's lives. And some of that stuff was so accurate that it scared me. And I was looking back at how I used to doubt my mother when she went to church, and I used to doubt my sisters. Because I used to say, what y'all going for, man? I said, you know, and I used to, but as I grew stronger in wanting to know the truth. And that's why I said people that have an ear to hear and eyes to see, those are the ones that are seeking out truth. Those are the ones God will bless. If you're not looking for truth, and truth could be something that you don't want to hear, but something that you need to hear. But people who look for what they want to hear, they're not looking for truth. People who look for what they need, those people are looking for truth. Whether it comes in a way that they don't want it or a way that they do want it, they're looking for truth. Those are the kind of people God is looking for. And that's the kind of man that I felt that I was as a boy. And God came, man, as I stepped closer, God stepped closer. Right? He says, draw near to him and he draw near to you. And so these agnostics out here, you got to give God a proper chance and open yourself up. Put yourself on your knees. Go before God and really seek him. And read a few scriptures, because those scriptures relate to the Spirit of God. It's not that they're all like they relate to the Spirit of God, and that's the way God becomes closer to us. And so when I saw these revelations that he gave me, one revelation in particular, I was in a real religious college at one time, very strict, charismatic college in the U.S. And there were people just coming up to me saying God's hand is on you and all that. But outside of that, I was going to these church and I was worshiping in this church where there was a black pastor. And there was this other church on the other side of town that had this white pastor. And I felt that white pastor was kind of biased and he's political a lot of times. He's conservative. And, you know, my background, I was liberal and, you know, all of that. And I saw some brother that I knew going to that church. I said, why are you going over to that man's church, man? I said, he's a white pastor and all that. So me personally, I think our people should be trying to develop within our communities and trying to get our community strong and not really necessarily go out here to a whole lot of other different race churches till you get yourself together. You know, get yourself together and then you can probably go other places. But I was not feeling that, you know. And I got this revelation and it blew my mind. I saw this Naval Academy, like these fine officers and marching in synchronism. They were synchronized and filing off in perfect formation in white, nice uniforms. Just and then he showed me in a military uniform, which I used to be in the Army. So he had my uniform with medal and all the things on it showing how my orderliness would fit with this orderliness, even though it was the U.S. Army. I was U.S. Army and this was a naval thing. He was saying, go and dine in the table. And it was a white pastor. I said to myself, I'm not going over there, you know, but I got this revelation that they had an orderliness and he was showing me that I could get something out of it, even though it's not where I normally dwell. Just like the Army doesn't hang with Navy guys. So I said, that place, just like Elijah when he went to the Sarepta, where Jezebel, who tried to kill him, was raised. He said, that's her hometown. Well, he sent me. I went to that church, man. I was surely blessed. And I tell you, it was a white pastor. That's something even today, it's hard for me to even talk about it or even admit to it. And it just really bothers me, man. But I went, and I was blessed. And I didn't stay, you know, I mean, it was blessed for that time. But he was showing me to be open, not to, you know, trying to sell out my people. No, he wants you to be like Moses. But if he has to send you to get something, he can't give it to you in your own people, then you better go get it. Just like Christ, when he went, they was trying to throw him over. His people trying to throw him over the cliff. And he was trying to come and bless them. So I'm telling you, agnostic brothers, and some of you believing, brother, God is out there. He's real. And if you seek him right, he will show you himself, but you better be ready for it. And quit all this doubting that you need scientific. Man, it's going to get real science. It's going to get real scientific when you get to pushing him. You push him and he shows you something. What you going to do then? That's what he did to Brother Soldier. Now, I'm sharing that not to put whites on a pedestal or Europe. Plus, trust me, that is my least desire. But I'm saying I went and I was blessed. And I can't tell you, I don't have enough time to tell you all of it, but I just say I was blessed. And then I've been blessed under my own brothers, you know, my own men. And those are where I prefer to be. I prefer to worship. I would prefer to worship with black gospel type stuff. I'm not in no country western. That's not me. But I went over there and I was surely blessed. And that's when I knew that this God, he knows us. He knows your love for your people. He's going to send you to your people. He's going to send you. But he's also going to say you might not be able to get blessed with them today because your own brothers are going to throw stones at you. You better go over here with white folk. They're not going to sit for a minute just to get a meal until I can bless you another way and get your people right to receive you. That's all I'm saying. Now, some of y'all going to say, oh, man, this dude's a seller. No, you know, just get the message out of it. My time is up. Man, know thyself. In hotel, as he said. Peace, love. God bless you.